there's about £1.5 billion claimed every year by people who aren't entitled to claim that money. Now that's fraud, that is wrong. That money shouldn't be claimed.
Once you are in capacity benefit for 12 months or more, you are more likely to die than you are to get a job.
There's no light at the end of the tunnel. There's no tomorrows. There's no future. There's no prospects.
I work my heart out for anybody, you know what I mean? Anybody's willing to give me a job, I'm a good worker, I will work, like, you know what I mean?
High up in the Welsh valleys lies Merthyr. The government hopes that a tougher benefits system can save £11 billion in the next 5 years. But what will happen to Britain's most deprived areas when that money runs out? Right through the recent decade of strong growth elsewhere in the UK, this town remains stubbornly dependent on welfare, in particular incapacity benefits. If that was its plight during the boom times, how on earth is it going to cope with the new government's big financial squeeze? Can Merthyr adapt, or will it simply shrivel and die? On first impressions, this place looks like anywhere else in Britain. High street brands, hanging baskets, and neatly mowed lawns, a picture of civic pride. But walk about for a few days and you quickly pick up a stench of decay. Reminders of Merthyr's decline are everywhere. It was once the iron-making capital of the world. In the 1950s, the arrival of an American multinational brought with it fresh hope and thousands of manufacturing jobs. But then, in the late 80s, the ironworks were closed, as were the pits. And this year, the Hoover factory was finally shut, for good. Nowhere is the impact of Merthyr's decline more obvious than the Gurnos estate, where hard work has been replaced by hard drugs and crime. Sean has lived on the Gurnos estate all his life, but he's not worked for 20 years.
I'll work my heart out for anybody, you know what I mean? Anybody's willing to give me a job, I'm a good worker, I will work, like, you know what I mean? Half the people living around here are living on a poverty line, you know? They are living right on poverty line, like. Most of us are living on a poverty line. If they don't want to work, they'll say, right, we sign you off the door, simple as that. But then how are they going to live? What are they going to do then? They're going to turn to crime.
It's so easy to point the finger at someone and say, there goes the bad guy, or there goes the wrong guy. A lot of people are missing out on work offers, and there's a lot of people up on the estate. They worry about people claiming incapacity and such things as that.
Do you work, Steve?
No, actually at the moment I'm on incapacity. Well, around with that, because I snapped my neck 3 years ago.
The government wants to overhaul the current benefit system, which it says subsidises idleness and fosters fraud instead of rewarding aspiration. The plan is to reassess all incapacity claimants by 2013. Housing benefits are to be cut by 10% for those who have spent more than a year on job seekers allowance. And single parents will be expected to find work once their youngest child has started school. In return, the coalition intends to slash bureaucracy, reduce the tax burden on low-paid jobs, and assist those who want to move to find work. But if ministers believe that simply by cutting back handouts they will transform the work-shy into willing employees, they could be in for a nasty surprise. How long have you lived on the Gurnos estate?
Me? Nearly all my life.
Really? Jay?
All my life.
Really? What do you think the future holds for you?
Don't have a clue, like.
Oh, me.
Just hoping if I get a job.
What do you think the chances are?
Doubt it very much.
At the moment, looks like there's nothing going, like.
How do you pay for your life? You said there are no jobs. Have you, either of you, ever had a job?
I never ever had a job, mate.
How do you live?
How do I live?
Yeah, how do you live?
Benefits, and you go to sport.
How much do you get?
£38
£38?
a week.
That's it?
Yeah.
How do you live on £38?
Can't really. I don't. Really, I live off my mother, I do, like.
Does mum work?
My mother, no. She got kids, she have.
Must be tough on
She's
£38.
bringing up my daughter as well.
She's bringing up your daughter?
Yeah.
Why is she doing it?
Because I went through all drugs and all that. And then I got evicted from my house and all that because of drugs and that.
And do you live on benefits as well?
Yeah.
How much do you get?
£103 fortnight.
Hang on a minute, how comes you get more than her?
I don't have a clue.
Because I don't think of sport. And because I didn't turn up to a job interview or something. They docked my money.
What about your accommodation where you live? Do you have to pay for that?
I don't live nowhere.
Do you?
No.
So where do you sleep?
Wherever I can get my head down.
Really?
Friends.
Friends' sofas and... Really?
Mostly, like.
What are the schools like in around here in Gurnos?
So I've never been to school.
Well, I never went to school. I always had bad behaviour and all that. And chucked out to school and all that.
Did any of your friends go to school and get out? I mean...
No, none.
They're all still here?
Yeah, they're all still here now.
Did anybody leave? Any of your mates get up and go, just leave? Or are they still in Merthyr, same place?
Half of them's in prison.
Why don't you just get on the bus and go to Cardiff? There's lots of jobs down there.
Because I didn't know my way. And I didn't know no one on it.
As far as I've been in Cardiff is outside the train station and back in.
That's it? Really?
Yeah.
So does it feel like another world to you down there at Cardiff? Does it feel like a big city?
Different planet.
What was that like?
Well, it was just utterly depressing. Bleak, nihilism, confusion, an awareness that this is just a desperate place full of crime, nothing to do, and yet an unwillingness to get out. Extraordinary. They talked about Cardiff as if it were planet Mars, somewhere else, way, way beyond their cognizance. Really depressing. To be frank, I was unconvinced by the grim negativity of this outlook. Yes, employment opportunities are scarce, but they do exist. The Merthyr meat processing plant employs hundreds of people, a good number from Portugal and Poland. Rumours that the company pays immigrants less than the minimum wage are not true. It's just that too often locals do not apply for the jobs. And at this open cast coal mine, the company running it offers training schemes for long-term employment. But it seems that many in Merthyr don't want this type of work.
Whilst we have advertised the job and use Careers Wales to move things forward, they sent off about 80 applications to inform people. We only actually had 5 people applying for the business administrator trainee apprenticeship role.
So let's get this right. You're a big credible business. You're in an area where youth unemployment is high. You didn't just put a notice out there, you targeted those people and actually contacted them, and you only had 5 applications.
That's right, that's right.
Back on the Gurnos estate, there are some who say the problem is more complex than brazen laziness. Martin grew up here and has recently been employed as a local youth centre. He believes what's needed is further training and assistance to get people into work, not brutal cuts to meagre welfare checks.
I've been given the chance basically to go back into work and earn the money and get qualifications. You got a lot of people around here that haven't been given that chance and will never have that chance.
Do you not think instead of bringing the jobs to the people, sometimes the people should go to the jobs?
Yeah, I do agree with that, but if you're not qualified and you've got a lot of them asking for experience, how can you get the job?
It was this centre, the engine house, that that gave Martin his first experience of youth work. The place buzzes with activity and helps keep the kids of Merthyr off the streets.
People keep talking, they can see what they like.
Paul founded this centre in an effort to transform the lives of locals with little to do. His passion comes from a bitter, personal experience of the damage done by drugs. Paul's son became an addict at a young age and is now serving a 10-year prison sentence.
It's terribly destructive, isn't it? How deep is the problem in Merthyr?
It's right through Merthyr. It's in every, I wouldn't say it's in every household. If your son's not on it and your grandson's not on it, then you're very, very lucky.
What happened to your boy?
Well, this boredom thing again. And the cheap hit was a couple of tomazepans and wash it down with a flag and a cider. And that then made you feel way out. It took away the responsibility of doing anything else. You think of a young person taking drugs, they're on a down because they can't get a job. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. There's no tomorrows. There's no future. There's no prospects. And all of a sudden, somebody comes along and offers you this something that's going to take you out of all of that and make you feel good about yourself. So this is not brain surgery by any means. But what this is a fight back against drugs, against teenage pregnancy, against alcohol, and against all the bad things that would ruin a young person's life, like you'd have my boy. Too late for my boy.
Another young person involved at the engine house is Matthew. His employment was funded by the Future Jobs Fund. But with that scheme now cut, the centre can't afford to retain him. He too is about to be out of work, but with the added pressure of a pregnant girlfriend and no home of his own.
When you finish up on Friday, the money runs out.
Money runs out, yeah.
That's it?
That's it for me, yeah.
What will you do on Monday morning?
Get on the phone to the job centre, go down to the job centre, get a number and back on the door for me, like. I'm a qualified bricklayer by trade.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I fancy doing this for a change. And like with the bricklaying jobs in like London, in Birmingham, and like it's just hard for me to travel, like.
What for you is the sort of break-even point between being on the dole and going to work? At what point do you say, well, it's just not worth it?
I work here for 150 quid a week and that's perfect for me.
That would be okay?
Yeah, but I just don't want to go back on the dole anymore. I was on the dole for about 2 years before I had this job. And
really?
Just like you get like remarks, oh, look at him, dole head or whatever, like, and it's just not very nice. I got made homeless, I did about 3 months ago, like.
So when the baby's born, where will you live?
Don't know. Honestly, don't know.
You really do need that job?
Yep.
Would you consider going down to Cardiff and doing something else? Forget bricklaying.
Yeah.
I mean, would you just wander around Cardiff and say, look, are there any jobs?
Yeah.
You would do that. Have you done it?
No, I haven't done it, but I would.
Well, the difference could hardly be starker. Compared with yesterday and those young people on the Gurnos estate just blighted by bleakness and despair and despondency, this place is offering some hope. It's fighting back against that awful existence in a drug-fueled rut. And you know, the irony is this place is called the Engine House. That's because back in Edwardian times, it was home to a huge industrial engine that powered the iron industry, a very successful industry. And today, in Merthyr, that's the problem. There isn't an engine for the local economy, nothing to drive it forward. Nothing that I can see, anyway.
I'm on a journey to find out how the government's plans to slash benefits will affect a town like Merthyr, where huge numbers of people live on handouts. Branded the sick note capital of Britain because of its welfare dependency, Merthyr's future is, at best, uncertain. In the Welsh valleys, many still enjoy traditional pastimes. But in Merthyr, there's also a proud record of excellence in a somewhat tougher pursuit: boxing. Producing world-class fighters such as Eddie Thomas and Johnny Owen, this town is renowned for its fighting spirit. In this respect, there's one man who surpasses all others, the town's best-loved son, former world featherweight champion Howard Winston.
There's no British featherweight in sight who can take the title away from Howard Winston.
Winston won his world title in 1968 and became a Welsh legend.
That was the fight that really got him going, wasn't it, against Terry Spence?
Spinks, yes.
I went to meet his widow, Bronwyn, who still lives in Merthyr.
Back in those days, in the sort of late 60s and early 70s, what was Merthyr like as a town?
Well, how can I say, a lot better than it is now.
Really?
Oh, yes. You could go out and you could go to a dance or just for a drink somewhere and there was no fear. Today, in most towns, you got that fear of the youngsters getting drunk and all this business.
There is a drugs problem here.
Yeah, yeah.
When did that start?
Oh, I should imagine around about 10 years ago, where you could see it. Might have been before, but it's coming out into the open now, you know.
What do you think Howard would have made of the Merthyr of today?
I think he'd be shocked if he'd seen the youngsters like they are now when you see them in town. He'd be shocked because there was nothing like that when we were their age. Nothing at all.
It needs another Howard Winston, doesn't it? Don't you think so? It needs someone who's a hero.
Yes. So we're just looking for one, that's all.
Trouble is, Howard Winstons are hard to find. So too in Merthyr are successful start-up companies. Yet it seems one local entrepreneur has hit on a winner. Howard Stapleton, who lives and works here, has designed a device that uses high-pitched noise to disperse feral youths from outside shops and off licences. Now it's caught on right across the UK. But he says much more needs to be done if the town is to become a fertile ground for other enterprises.
This was a town built on hard work, and yet somehow, to the outsider, the work ethic seems to have been lost. Is that unfair?
No, I don't think it is unfair, but the situation, of course, you get into is that there aren't enough businesses coming into the valleys. And I suppose some of this is through reputation. You know, they look at a place like Merthyr Tydfil as a backwater, which is a great shame. There is a huge amount of skill in places such as Merthyr Tydfil, but unfortunately, you know, there are a lot of bad things said about places like Merthyr. It is a great shame.
Social and financial crises are, sadly, not new to Merthyr. The Great Depression of the 1930s hit this town hard. The coal and iron industries all but collapsed. By 1932, about 70% of the male population was unemployed. Plans were even considered to empty Merthyr completely, clearing the slums and sending its people to other towns in South Wales. But the massive demand for iron and steel that was prompted by the Second World War gave Merthyr a new lease of life, providing a much-needed boost to the local economy. The question now is, can Merthyr rise again? And does it have any hope without a radical overhaul of the entire welfare system? Not if the research from Cardiff University is correct.
If you live the sort of life that a benefit system will allow you to live, then it's very hard to lift your eyes above that and to be ambitious for yourself or for your children. Statistically, you are more likely to die than you are to get a job once you've been on incapacity benefit for a year.
So something happens to people on incapacity benefit. What is it?
Well, they become disconnected from the world of work. If you are in a family or a community where there is a long history of not being in work, then reacculturing people to a stage where they think that work is the normal, natural and right thing that they should be doing isn't an easy thing to do.
Clearly, changing the system won't be easy. If there's one man who understands the scale of this challenge, it's the local Labour MP. He concedes that a benefit system which doesn't incentivise work needs to be reformed. But he warns the coalition this cannot be achieved on the cheap.
You will pay the money. I'll tell them now, you will pay the money, and you'll either pay it constructively and you'll come out with a positive result, or you'll pay the same sort of money in a way that will produce you nothing that's positive and will not resolve your problems. But you'll still spend the money because you'll spend it through policing, health, social dislocation, other things.
We went to the open cast mine. They wanted to recruit young people for training,
Yes.
a job for the future, not a dead-end job. They sought out 80 job seekers who were on job seekers allowance and wrote to them. So they found the workers. They only had 5 replies. So I'm putting it to you, unfortunately, at a certain level, there is now a culture of dependency that's set in Merthyr. Would you agree?
Well, I don't know whether it's laziness and dependency. I think there is a view about work. If you've been in generational unemployment, you don't understand what work is about. And everybody wants to be a film star. You know, everybody's gonna have some sort of career on, I don't know, coming out a Big Brother or something, right? So younger people's expectations of the world of work are different. Now, I think that has to be addressed, and it's going to happen through the schools and through that training program and through Job Match and those other things, where people are told and shown and explained what that's all about. Where there are job opportunities made available, clearly people ought to have explained to them exactly what work is about and the fact that they have to go and take the work.
Back in the town centre, the daily struggle to make ends meet grinds on. For Matthew, the hunt for a job has become even more urgent now that his girlfriend is expecting a baby. I travelled with him to Cardiff as he searched for a job outside of Merthyr for the very first time. His dole money is about £55 a week. To afford a daily commute like this, he's hoping to find a job paying at least 3 times that. In Cardiff, Matthew headed straight to the job centre, while I went to a nearby cafe and ordered the coffees. So, Matthew, how did it go?
Not too bad. Walked in the job centre, just asked the man on the front desk, is there anything we do to help me get a job? He just said, use the self-service machines provided. I used the phone, applied for 3 jobs doing labouring.
Good. So there's some hope?
Yeah, hopefully.
And what were the wages looking like? Any good?
Probably about 10,000 a year, like.
About £200 a week?
£200 a week, yeah.
Because you live up in the valleys, would that be enough? Could you make that work for you?
Probably get a daily, a week ticket on the bus. Happy days.
So do you see a day perhaps when you might have to move down to Cardiff? Could you do that?
If I had a job and I was up and running and see myself right, I'd probably think about having a house down this way.
Matthew's experience shows that when it comes to jobs, there is a life outside Merthyr. Be in no doubt, however, this town is on the ropes. But it's not been counted out, not yet. When you see the passion of the boys at Dowless Boxing Club, there's hope. Hope that with the right support, Merthyr's next generation can fight back against a dependency culture. This is a town that has tested to destruction the fitness of the current welfare system. These are not lazy people, but their capacity for work has been eroded by well-intentioned but misguided benefits. The challenge for the new government is clear: to encourage and reward enterprise and aspiration, helping Merthyr to rediscover some of its famous fighting spirit.